music club. Welcome to my little treehouse office. I've talked with several of you that you guys are interested in learning about songwriting, which, like, you can do all by yourselves. Cool thing is, songwriting is like taking your thoughts and feelings and putting them to music, so I'm sure you're having some success already. But there are things that I think make it helpful, and there's some tricks I've learned over the years, because before I was an art teacher, I just traveled around the world with my accordion and, like, played songs for people. And there's a few things that help. Let me think about this. I think the coolest thing in a song is how you... So a song's chugging along, right? It's like a little train and it's going along a track of what people expect. Maybe those 4 chords that you're playing, maybe the melody that you're singing. You know, it's like when you're listening to a song on the radio and it's like going along and you can tell it's about to go back into the hook or the chorus because it's like a little bit different, but you're waiting for it to get back to that part that you love. So when we write songs, when we're feeling like we're doing really, really good at it, I think there's this art form to, like, have a recognizable, catchy part that's pretty comfortable, and then we'll learn to, like, take a step away from that so that we have something that we want to come back to. So I'm not going to do that with the structure of the song that I'm going to show you, but I'm going to do it with the chords in it, and that's another way we can do that. So all of the chords I play are kind of built around this C shape. They're C, A minor, F. They've all kind of got that bright, warm, major chord sound. And so what I'm going to do to make people want to hear that again is I'm going to play the F at weird times so that it makes you want to go back to that C sound, which is called resolution. So it's like, oh, it's a little bit weird and uncomfortable, and then you kind of go, ah, when it resolves to that chord or that sound where it started, which is called the root chord of the song. So that's kind of where it's comfortable, and anything related to that sounds good, but you can be a little bit dissonant, and it builds up your longing to return to that sound. And I'm going to do that specifically in this song with throwing in an E7. And I feel like every time you hear that, it's hopefully going to, like, pull on your heartstrings a little bit and be like, oh, what's going on? That's really different. In all my other songs, I'll choose like a dissonant, weirder chord like that, or a very sad sounding chord. That's an E minor or a B minor. This is not my guitar, it's very hard to play this guitar. But I'll pick a kind of melancholy sound, so you'll be chugging along and then you'll just hear this one sad, powerful chord that steals your heart and makes you care about the story that's being told. So that's an idea I have. But the main idea about this song in particular is it's a really simple song. I actually wrote it as like a birthday card, or like a letter to a friend. So it's just telling a story. And the story it's telling is several stories, and they just return to each other because of, like, this overarching theme. So I guess the story is, it's me writing a letter to my friend that I miss them, I wish we lived closer, because I was in Dublin and this friend lives in Seattle, and we've never lived in the same city, so we don't see each other very much. So the point of the song is just longing to be closer to them, but then I use that story to tell a lot of other stories from my life. So the first story I tell is that morning in Dublin. It was, like, cold, I was really bummed out, I didn't feel creative. I talk about brewing a pot of coffee and, like, opening the curtains and letting the light in and how that kind of makes it better, and I start the letter. And during the letter, the next verse is I'm going to talk about a big story that happened in my life, which is I hitchhiked this sailboat and, like, went across the ocean, which is just a story I felt like telling. But I tie it into the song by being like, where's she going with this? And then at the end it's like, hey, this is related to my friend because I'm collecting stories to share with him. And the third verse, it's more directly about my friend, and it's talking about just, like, some of the things we've done as friends. Which in this case is dancing. Every time we hang out and we're cooking breakfast or doing anything, we'll do ballroom dancing, and it's very fun. So that sounds like a chaotic story, but it's very much on purpose, because I think of songwriting as like an art, and particularly I feel like the more like strange and very specific little like images you can pluck from your memory, or like these little things that you notice or feel, like the more specific you can be and like weave them into something, I feel like the more strong your song can be. Right, so it's kind of like a tapestry and it's all woven together, and so there's all of these colors and it kind of tells this very complex story. But the other thing about that is it also kind of removes it, and it's like so artistic at that point that your listener might be able to like feel something. Because if it was very specific and it was like, I walked down the street, I did this, I saw that guy, blah blah blah, if it's too specific and like linear, like going from A to B, your listener might not find a place where they really relate to you. But if you just paint these big strokes of color, they'll probably find their own way through that thing that you've been painting and find something that they connect to. It's like if you watch a really artsy movie that doesn't necessarily make sense, that you kind of like start telling your own story inside of it. So those are my thoughts. There's some really cool like TED Talks and videos where they're talking about what makes songs really, really famous and catchy, what makes people love them. And one of the things that they learned is that people's favorite songs are songs that you can't understand. Like, you can't easily understand it. I'll try to think of an example. I feel like the Beatles have a lot of those. But, you know, anytime you can ask a question of yourself, like, what is he talking about? That tends to be stuff that people keep coming back to. Alright, and briefly, I want to share with you my favorite hack, little life hack for writing songs. So I've just pulled up a slide, and this is an A-B rhyming pattern. So the green ones rhyme together, those are A's. The red ones rhyme together, those are B's. So like numbers and slumbers, those rhyme perfectly. That's an old Longfellow poem. Not me, my great-great-great-grandpa. Good for him. So he's rhyming A, B, and that's cool. That's a really good way to start rhyming. What I want to show you here is called assonance. Assonance is just a different kind of rhyming, where it's just a gentler rhyme. Basically, instead of doing numbers and slumbers, I'm going to find a kind of similar sound within the word, and I'll match them. So you'll see I made the colors, like both of those are blue-ish, and both of the other two, my B rhymes, are red-ish, but they're not exactly the same tone. So between waters and wonder, you know, I'm overemphasizing that there, but they've kind of got that ah. So I'm playing with that vowel sound, and I'm making those words related, or down and gone. Again, overemphasizing that there, but typically when you're singing or just reading something out loud, the brain will still catch that rhyme, and it'll be satisfied by it, but it's not like you're just like driving the point home, you know, I'm not rhyming meme and seem. It's just a bit more subtle. Yeah, just one way to sound like a clever cookie, and also just so you feel like you have more freedom to use more words. You know, you don't have to find the word that rhymes exactly with the thing you're looking for. You can just find one that sounds good with it. And that gives you a lot of freedom to start maybe telling your story a little more easily, I hope. So I'm going to play this song for you, and I would say try to notice whenever the chords kind of go to a weird place that make you want to come back to this C sound. Oh. Cool. Open the window and let in the day. It's cold as a night, but it's cold anyway. The body's just stakes, all that here to its bones. Don't cry now, don't shut down, the lights are still on. Don't cry now, don't shut down, the lights are still on. You're seeking some anthem, these songs they've all gone. Go soak up the sunlight on the frozen lawn. The tiniest joys percolated and all in a clean white page. I'll write a letter to you on a clean white Remember last year I sailed away, carried along on crests of a wave, my heart in my mouth while the black waters froze, unbroken, unchanging like a field of snow, unbroken, unchanging like a field of snow. I sung all my old songs, gave them to the tide, washing my skin in the Atlantic brine. The world always rolled and I lost track of time. I dreamed I'd have stories for you. I dreamed I'd have stories for you. As you take off your shoes and you hold out your hand, your kitchen's a ballroom where we always dance. And I've always got these extravagant plans. You help me put down little roots. You help me put down little roots. So open the window and let in the day. Tune the guitar, put a pen to the page. Your dandelion greens in a desert of gray. These travels take me home to you. Let these travels take me home to you. Oop. Yeah, something like that. Yeah, I guess we're just telling stories with these. And then there's fun cheats we can do, like if that story was super important to me and I thought I nailed it, but it's actually too high or too low for my voice, you can just be like, let's try different chords, or let's try making it sound more sad, and instead of that E7, we'll throw in a, just playing around with the music theory as you get better and better at it. But sometimes the simplest songs are the most powerful. And yeah, find an artistic way to tell a story. That's all we gotta do. So good luck. Yeah, and if you don't feel too shy, I'd love to hear what you're working on. Cool. See you next time.